Welcome to the freewheeling cavalcade of circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing.
Oh, hey folks, dude here, cutting in another edition of Dude After Dark. This one's going to be a little bit of a rough ride, and that's being polite. It is sound guy. Well, anyway, today was me having to take Mrs. Dude to a doctor's appointment, so my sleep schedule is completely okay. Thanks, sound guy. So anyway, basically had to take her to get a doctor's appointment in. My sleep schedule is jacked. I'm trying to get as much work knocked out as possible because there's a yearly inspection that takes place with Uber, and my vehicle is due. And after a certain date, you can't operate it any longer. So you basically go, here's my paperwork showing the vehicle's not safe and all the rest of that good stuff, having a little folder roll and all the rest of that fun stuff. So anyway, tail end of a cold. That's why I'm kind of sniffling, snorting, coughing, hacking, carrying on, all the rest of that good stuff. So anyway, that's where I am with that one. Now basically dealing with the excessive yumminess. No, sound guy. No, it's not. It's just excessive yumminess. Okay. And the tail end of it's pretty much happening. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And before long, I won't be under the weather, as it were. What in the world was that last one, sound guy? What was that? Oh, okay. Basically, like guy in a guillotine, you're kind of, hack, chop, splat, fall. Got it. Thank you. He actually was putting that in our interrogatory messaging. Anyway, what are you doing? Stop. Anyway, I got a hot cup of tiki juice, so I'm going to take a swig if you guys wish to as well. I commend you. Anyway, good stuff like that there. I have scads of news stories. Way more memes than I can shake a stick at. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply just going to go from north to south, try to jump into as many news stories as I possibly can, and we'll go with that one. But like I said, I got absolutely scads of memes. Now, there is a couple iterations here of this particular item of notice, and, it's Trump's big, beautiful bill that I think is pretty much a big blathering pile of balderdash. It's really not the best piece of legislation, and I can find myself seeing it as, is it really worthy? Just give me a second. I'm looking up at work stuff. That's the second time it sent me that ride, and I'm not doing it. It's just gonna run me too late. I'm too tired, and I know me. And if I run myself too hard, I'm gonna feel it later on. Anyway, so if I basically just beat on myself, I got it, sound guy. If I beat on myself too hard, stop. I feel it later. So looking at the news story, essentially 5 House Republicans voted president, opposed or missed the vote entirely on Trump's big, beautiful bill, which included major spending and tax cuts. Now, the reason why they did that is there's a slight little factoid they seem to be leaving out of this news story is it is not a bunch of tax cuts. It is reiteration, continuation, or reestablishing some of the Trump tax cuts from previous. There's something called SALT, which is basically like your taxation on state taxes. You get like a credit on them. There's some other technology involved that brings into play a tax break on certain items. So essentially, you're just bringing back the stuff that Trump originally did. They let sunset and they're bringing it back yet again. That's not a tax break. The biggest thing that everybody seems to really truly forget is if you look at the bar graph of federal spending versus time, from about 2008, it was kind of static. There's a little bit of an uprise, a little bit of an uprise. And after 2008, it just went stratospheric. So you look at the state, the actual United States expenditure, it was like this. Now it's like this plus. It is unsustainable. Even if you have a large GDP, if they keep essentially saying, oh, no, we're going to make this pool of, people that are getting money every annuum, every month, every week, call it what you will, people on the public dole, people on the public graft. If you keep increasing that pool, essentially gets to the point where the politicians are going, what can I do? What can I do? If I cut this, I'll lose my position. Well, asshole. If you didn't put it in the first place and you didn't make it something that was this just perpetuating pile of I got this one, sound guy. Trust me, I got this one. A self-perpetuating pile of yeah, if it wasn't something like that, you wouldn't have all this gross expenditure compiled on previous gross expenditure, then as an ever-growing cadre of you got to pay this stuff or you're just going to lose your job because it is now a self-perpetuating Ponzi scheme. Yeah. So anyway, that's what's going on with that one is the federal budget has got way too many programs that are self-perpetuating Ponzi schemes and can do nothing but grow. All right, whatever, sound guy. Anyway, so these guys are voting against it, including my local guy, Andy Harris. But the thing about it is the reason why they're voting against it is like this whole Freedom Caucus thing and all the rest of this stupid, we're going to do these things because this is our mechanization and motivation. This is just how we do stuff. I do not see the chat room at the moment, so let me fix that right now. Let me address this so I can see what's going on in the room. So hang on one second here. And I already got that computer muted so I can actually see what's going on. So looking in the chat room, Martinez Sasquatch, appreciate you coming on by, dude. The local resistance chapter is broadcasting again. Yes, the local Free America underground cadre. Anyway, so looking at things as it is in this regard, let me jump back over here what I was looking at. Lose my emails. I don't need to look at those. I got way too much stuff in my Facebook page I can go over. Anyway, so going into a lot of the memes, Chucky Schumer is being his usual schmucky Schumer self. I love this post. Chuck Schumer at Send Schumer. Quote, this is an egregious abuse of power by Trump to punish Harvard. It's a vendetta that has no basis in fact or law and harms innocent student victims. I'm going to let that sink in for just 1 second here. Schmucky. Here's the deal. If you have Chinese who come to school here and they are stealing intelligent designs or they're stealing intelligent properties or they're taking and they're spying because before they even think of leaving China, they have sworn to the Communist Party, Thor's hammer, I'm going to spy on everything and let you know what's going on, and I'm going to steal as much stuff that isn't bolted down as possible. That's the one side of things that basically makes you go, why are we even giving these guys the opportunity to snoop around and steal all our stuff and do these kind of things that really come back and bite us later on? Was that like biting us later on, sound guy? I don't know. That one was just. That one was chomp. Okay, thank you. Okay, timing. I'll allow the ding. All right, thank you. Stop that. No, you don't get a ding for door knocking, okay? Stop that. Cool. This is what authoritarians do to bully and intimidate those who resist their power and freely express their opinions and right to educate according to the standards of education and inclusion. Okay, the last time I looked at the Constitution, of which I do actually happen to have a copy. Hang on a second here. Yeah, I have a pocket Constitution of these United States. Let's see. Is there a right to educate according to standards of excellence and inclusion? No. I don't see this. I don't see this as an absolute constitutional right. Schmucky, you were sworn in to defend, affirm to defend and, protect the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Now, if you have Chinese snoopers who are coming in here and they're stealing all our intellectual property and they're basically grabbing everything that's not bolted down, yeah, Chuck, a little door knock there, just to let you know that things might be not exactly as you posit them. They have absolutely no right to education in this country, and the fact that they're here on student visas, they swear and affirm they're not going to screw the process. They're not going to do anything that's contrary to the way that we do things in this country. They're not going to rabble rouse. They're not going to create all kinds of bad occasions for things to have happen. And schmucky, they have absolutely no constitutional rights because they are not American citizens. Get that through your pointy little head. They don't have constitutional protections. They are visitors here on student visas. Just give me 1 second here. So anyway, Schmucky Schumer, you, how would I say this, sound guy? How would I say this? Oh. Douchebags. Yeah, he's a douchebag. Large, stinking, hairy pile of, douchebags. Yeah, big, screamingly douchebag. Scrolly, it's now come out that Carmelo Anthony, also known as the touch me again, I'm going to show you what's what guy, he's not being charged as an adult under Texas state law for first-degree murder. If there's anybody that's really truly deserving of, murder, it's him. Don't touch me or you'll see what you're going to get. Other guy was unarmed, you shank him, kill him right then and there. That's not going to fly, okay? That's really not going to fly in Texas, okay? Trust me on that one. You dickhead. Yeah, you dickhead. Okay, I'll allow the ding that time. That was actually on point. Scrolly. Speaking of douchebags, Bruce Springsteen has attained high douchebag status, and of which we shall not utter his name yet again. Let's see. Comey is definitely attaining douchebag status. Let's see. Oh, absolutely. Whoopi Goldberg had already attained douchebag status. Let's see. Scrolly. I'm seeing gas prices in California right now that are going, just, yeah, big time, just right in the bag. You walk anywhere near to looking at a sign at a gas station, and all you think is, yeah, chomp. You're being really happy with the ding sound guy, but okay, I'll allow it. So anyway, you go to California and you try to fuel your vehicle. You are just gonna go, Oh, it's definitely death by 1 gallon at a time. I don't know where this is in California. I'm looking at basically a meme picture here. And the regular gas is $6.29. The premium gas is $6.69. And the diesel is $7.39 per gallon. Holy crap. Martina Sasquatch, those are normal prices. The blended gas and taxes suck. Well, that's one of the other problems with California is they said, well, gasoline is fine, but we want to have a bougie gasoline that makes our cars cleaner than the rest of the planet because, oh yeah, we have way too many people stuffed in the fundament of LA County and these other areas, which are really, you've seen like the classic 60s pictures of the smog in LA because it's in a bowl depression. Literally, it's like you have a valley going down here, going up to another valley here, LA is in the middle, and all that stuff just goes right there and stays. So they got this bougie gasoline that supposedly cleans up the process, and they're saying everybody should be driving EVs because if you don't...
Gas! By Snoo!
Okay, thanks, sound guy. So anyway, I don't know if it's any better per se, but I know it's not as good for the Californians because essentially, if you're making fuel that is specific for one region that is different than the entire rest of the country, you are going to get, well, Garen blanking teed. You are going to get wee. Thanks, sound guy. You're going to get wee. Would you stop that? You're going to get wee like you don't want to know. Scrolls goes scrolly. I don't know if you guys heard about this one up, but supposedly this scuttlebutt's been going around about like Zelensky tried to take a swipe at Putin in his helicopter. I haven't been able to substantiate that story good information at all. I mean, I've seen some smatterings of, the Russian President Putin was endangered in his helicopter by Zelensky taking a crap shot at him. I really haven't seen that happening. It's just, it's been like unsubstantiated balderdash, shall we say. And that's being about as polite as I could be using, non-vernacular. Scrolly. Now there is going over to, I got this one, sound guy. As much as I really, truly don't want to do this, we have to introduce him properly.
The name is...
Yeah, we're talking about Joe Caca. Stop that. Sound guy. Joe. Stop saying caca. Joe. I think we're good. Would you stop? So anyway, Joe Caca, I interrupted him, is now been found out to obviously have been not in full potential in the White House. And there was a cadre of people who were running things. Interesting. So there was a cadre of people running things. There was 5 people that were designated. Some of the names you've never heard of. And they've essentially said that these people were the guys who are actually behind the scenes pulling the strings and making the thing work. I would tend to think that there was a 6th name involved. Excuse me. Like I said, I tend to think that there was a 6th name involved. And I believe that name would be obviously Barack Hussein Obama. Why? Because he got a house in Washington, D.C. He didn't want to be too far away from the action. And he was, the boss of Biden the first time around. So I'm sure Biden would have been like, brown-nosing with his nose probably poking out, Obama's mouth on the other end, going, please, boss, help me out with some of the hard parts. So I tend to think that Obama's, legal residence in that case, or primary residence in that case was for a very, very, very good reason, is he wanted to be close to the action where he could basically interact justifiably when he wished to put his own 2 cents in and drive the bus when he wished to. Because Joe Kaka was not 100% and was not ready to do it because he was just, I don't know what to think because on the brain. Yeah. I would tend to think in any realm of existence, you couldn't say that Joe was all that much of a, interactor or power figure in that one. It was everybody else doing the things that, he couldn't do. And then, of course, there's that whole auto pen thing going on with who was telling the computer to go beep, sign it, beep, sign it, beep, sign it. When did he come out and endorse Imodium? I don't know what the reference is to that one, Patriot Fever. Anyway, looking at things at this one, there was a cadre of people that were driving the White House. It was not Joe Kaka in any way, shape, or form. This one, I literally made fun of it, and they blocked me. Now, the thing about it is I have multiples of Facebook pages, okay? As a matter of fact, there's one extremely disused Facebook page I still have that really, I just jokingly say, air quotes, is family only. And I logged into that, and literally I could see the page. And there's another one I have that's just strictly is a business, secondarily to, my primary thing of, my daily day. But there's also like a secondary Facebook page I have that's really just attributing to that side of things. And I could log into that and I could see it. So they specifically said, "Oh no, he's making fun of us." Boop. And they put the band hammer on me. But the thing about it is this is a real Facebook group, folks. And I do mean a real Facebook group. So all one word, mask, capital M, together, capital T, America, capital A, located in Los Angeles, California. Now, they have this picture of this old, and I do mean old chick. She's wearing like one of the Claire spray shield kind of like surgical things. Underneath that, she's got a mask. The next page she has like some kind of like air purifying thing. Next one, she's got a bag with all kinds of like secondary, like, just in case disarming virus devices, goggles, and all manner of just, personal protection items that really they don't know of which they are talking about. Now, let's just be completely honest here. Essentially, if you're using a mask and you're trying to stop viruses, it's about as effective as a chain link fence trying to stop mosquitoes. It is no barrier whatsoever, except for the slight occurrence of the mosquito might go up, bink, bounce off one of the links, but still gets through. It is not intended to keep you from being infected. What it's intended to do is it's intended to catch all those particles that you're generating, coughing, sneezing, breathing, what have you. That's why you wear a mask when you're operating on a patient, is you're trying to keep you from introducing you into them in the open wound areas. That's why you wear a mask when you do surgery. So, this thing's probably going to try to give me that same ride again. Let's see what this one is. If it's early enough and worthy enough, I might consider it. It's same guys. They bumped the price a couple bucks. Not happening. Not feeling it. Too late. So anyway, I cannot do this justice on this page. It's just it's laughably over the top. How over the top is it? Okay, and I'm going to read just this entry here just to give you some idea of just how over the top some people still are about the. I got this one, sound guys. This might take a second here because I got to dig deep into the realms of the really older, and I do mean like the older sound bites. So let me dig in here. We're talking about the
Chinese Communist COVID viral infection.
That's right. So we're now talking about that one. Sound guy, what are you talking about? No, we don't have to worry about the
Chinese Communist COVID viral infection. Draw shots.
Nope, because there is no more.
Fact check.
Exactly. I don't know why he's throwing the cats in there. It has absolutely no realm reason or whatever to have anything to do with the
Chinese Communist COVID viral infection. Draw shots.
Right. Anyway, so this chick, I cannot begin to tell you how much this thing really it just kind of it makes my skin crawl. Truly, I mean that's the only way I can express it about this woman's particular health choices. So, quote: "How do I go to get my bi-yearly?"
Chinese Communist COVID viral infection. Draw shots.
Bi-yearly.
Draw shots.
How I go to get my bi-yearly
Draw shots.
is how I go out in public. 3M Aura Stoggles and, sorry, that's probably goggles. 3M Aura goggles and face shield. Did you ever think about aerosol interaction with unbroken skin and viral interaction therein? Or if you have a cut, or if you bump up against something and cause a slight abrasion? You do realize the way that they actually used to inoculate people for smallpox is they would use something called cow pox. Milkmaids would literally get the little bumps on their hands. It would be a transferable form of a more benign form of pox. They would literally take those fever blisters and they would poke holes in it. They would extract the fluid. And then what they would do is they'd walk up to the person that's being inoculated. They would take that needle and go and poke them a bunch of times to introduce that viral reduced agent antigen into the next person. Since they were now interacting with a quote unquote lesser form of pox, their body would go, ooh, I recognize this as a threat, and would generate the antigens and the facilities to then fight smallpox and the other forms of just don't get them because they were so horrendous back in the day. Well, she doesn't really even consider the fact that there is secondary forms of interaction of viruses besides merely inhaling them. Yes, that is the primary form, or you can also get it in your eyes, spray hazards, all the rest of that fun stuff. The other major way is obviously through simple and basic daily living and bumping up against something. Excuse me 1 second here. I was like, you've heard about that virus where like somebody basically has like the necrotizing fasciitis? Now, if you didn't know what that stuff is necrotizing means dying. Fasciitis means an infection of the skin. So necrotizing fasciitis means literally the skin is just like sloughing off of the bones and everything else is just kind of going to hell. Most people contract that by simply just brushing up against something. There was one story I read, the guy literally had it on his lower leg, and all he did was he said, oh, the only thing I remember doing that day was I bumped up against a trailer hitch. Everyday stuff. That guy got the necrotizing fasciitis, and they barely saved him. Barely. All right, so getting back to where she is, how to get my bi-yearly shot to go out is how I go out in public. 3M Aura goggles and face shield. Mostly to the grocery store as I work from home. When I go to the dentist, I bring my battery-run purifier I keep next to my face and a small plug-in I put on the floor. I don't socialize anymore. No COVID ever. Annetta, 71. Higher risk due to her age. Okay. Annetta. Most of the people that died from COVID were short on this. That's what they were missing in their bloodstream. Whenever they did polls to see their blood chemistry, they were hugely deficient in vitamin D3. The other thing, too, is most of the people that died, and this is the classic I really truly hate the way the medical community did this, but literally, dude would have, stage 4 cancer, metastasizing, pneumonia, pneumococcal, all kinds of, just nasty, brain infections and stuff like that, and COVID. And they go, oh yeah, it was COVID that killed him. Dude, he was standing on a cliff edge, standing on top of a razor, and it didn't take anything but one additional molecule to go beep, and dude went over the edge. So, for you to say that COVID killed him when he had so many major comorbidities that could have just wiped him out at a moment's notice, and you're saying it was COVID? Holy crap. You people are unbelievably, absolutely just medically obtuse. And it's even worse than that, because they would actually get paid more if the guy died from COVID from the insurance companies versus saying, well, he has pneumococcal, meningitis, and, all kinds of, additional stage 4 cancer, metastasizing to the bones, and, hugely bad, double, triple, quadruple pneumonia, or all the rest of that fun stuff. Dude was literally on the ragged edge and not living, the next couple days, but it was COVID that got him. So they cashed in on that one big time. So she's at a higher risk due to her age. And that's absolute, complete, and absolute balderdash. There is no reason in the world why somebody who's older, you would go, oh no, well, they're older, so they're really, really just, that's the thing that's going to kill them, is absolutely going to be COVID because they are older. That is absolute, complete, absolute, steaming, hairy, nasty piles of absolutely. And that you are full of absolutely. Playing it once. At a higher risk due to their age. There's people that live many, many years being surrounded by COVID who never had any of the shots. Yeah, it's not age, okay? It's the comorbidities or the fact you are deficient in vitamin D3. Know it, love it, read it. That's it. Do some research. That's the reason why most people died from COVID, is because they were deficient in vitamin D3. Not hard to obtain, but you really only get it from a few sources. Read supplements or sunlight. Get some sun. 15 minutes a day is really all it takes. Just get some sun. There's some things that the human body cannot produce on its own. It can't make vitamin D3. It cannot make vitamin C. That's the little secret. Animals can produce their own vitamin C, so they don't worry about it. We need it, or we get scurvy and all the rest of that nasty stuff. Bad times. So, quote, I have friends who have gotten COVID, not vaccinated, had strokes, open heart surgery, heart valve replacement, AFib, many with that, and now are on heart meds for the rest of their lives. Doesn't matter if you look silly. One quote really hits it. I am avoiding COVID like the plague. Have gotten COVID who weren't vaccinated. I'm going to say probably unhealthy lifestyle, because you just described a whole bunch of chemically correctable things or lifestyle things that could be corrected by simply changing your diet and not eating, the bad seed oils, not eating all kinds of fried food from, takeout places. I try to avoid that, but every once in a while I do. But all these things that they say are like, oh, yeah, well, it just happens. No, it doesn't just happen, okay? It's a lot of lifestyle choices, all right? Since I was a child, learning about the plague scared me. Okay, so you already were destined to go, I'm just looking for a plague to call my own. Yipes. I don't want to be the one to spread it and contribute to mutations. I'm embracing my introverted self, and I am loving my solitude. Well, good for you. Don't try to shove it in everybody else's faces as a lifestyle choice. Annetta used to work on film and TV sets. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, that says it all right there. So you're actually part of the acting guild, performance arts. Those people are not Joe Average to begin with. Wow. People stopped following strict protocols, including masking on sets. Annetta, semi-retired, began working from home. Okay, I don't know how she's working from home when she actually worked in like performance arts and stuff, but whatever. Let's see. I have dogs. I have dogs, no kids. No one to help if I get sick. Let me take care of me. Any COVID infection can knock me down. I want to live as long as I can. Okay, that's like the guy that walks in the doctor's office and he's like, 98 years old, and the doctor's like, so you have a very advanced lifespan. You've been probably taking care of yourself. The guy goes, oh yeah, I've had a very strict diet. I've eaten nothing but like, ice, seeds and grass. And the guy goes, so you've had a very long life. Absolutely. It's like, did you enjoy it? Oh, let's see here. So in subsequent pictures, you can see Anetta's tools, including, quote, a personal Medify plug-in purifier, goggles, laminar rechargeable air purifier. Slide 5 shows how she dressed up for the DMV, where she had to unmask indoors for the photo. Oh, God, I bet she was holding her breath. To renew my driver's license, I knew I had to get my picture taken, so I donned a face shield, which is likely to mess up the hair. No goggles. I walked outside as much as I could. I had to stand in line a few times, but I was the only one masked in that tight situation. I was so stressed. I'm really having a hard time holding back from laughing right here. Many people in the, quote, Mask Together America community can relate to Anetta's struggle. Since 2020, we've been on a mission to promote prevention, to support, to promote prevention to support public health. Yeah. I appreciate At Mask Together and others are there for inform, and we know we're not alone in our concern. I hope we can inspire others to take precautions for their health and those around them and those they love. How would you know? You're living your life in solitude, and you say, I'm happy being by myself. Ugh, you person full of screaming, stinky piles of... Yeah. I feel so much safer because I'm by myself. I think you would have been by yourself before because you're kind of probably not the most, nice person to be around in the first place. I had to go to the DMV. You can renew things in other places besides the DMV, right? Wow. Schmucky Schumer, Senate Democrats will unanimously vote against President Trump's Be Beautiful bill. Why? Because you hate him. You're full of TDS. Ugh. I don't know if you guys saw this chick or not, but I cannot do this justice. The Democrats have now tasked fitness expert Olivia Juliana with bringing young men to the Democratic Party. Okay, this chick looks like she's about 4 Oompa Loompas stuffed into a female bag. And that's being kind. She's not anybody that I would go, she works out. She really is in amazing shape. She works out. Let's see. Scrolly. I really think it's kind of cheap when this one person decided to try a gotcha question on Trump with this whole chicken taco thing or taco chicken thing or whatever it was. Some talking head screaming memeite came up with the phrase, chicken taco or taco chicken, whatever it was. And the one girl comes over and she's like, so, President Trump, have you heard the phrase taco chicken or chicken taco? And he's like, and your point being, and she's like, well, it has to do with the fact that you basically say that you're going to have the tariffs in place, and then you back away at a moment's notice. You don't really stand up to it. And Trump goes, it is a bargaining ploy. You say what you will do if they don't agree to your terms, and then when they do agree to your terms, you go, okay, let's try to work this out. It's a negotiation tactic. It's like when you basically go to the poker table and you're trying to make the other guy call, or you're trying to cow the other guy by not showing your hand, and you're saying, hey, buddy, let's throw down here. What do you got? Yeah. Pretty bad chicken to stand up when shot at. Okay, I don't know what that means, but sure. So anyway, the long and short of it is she tried to do this gotcha question thing, and Trump just lambasted her. I mean, it was not even funny. He was just, Okay, you want to go? He went full Brooklyn on it. It's like, all right, you want to go there? Let's go. And he proceeded to just drop a nuke on her forehead. It was beyond hilarious how bad she just walked into it going, I got this. I'm in charge. No, you're not. You got eaten. And I don't mean it in a good way either. So anyway, the appeals court on Thursday stayed the ruling of U.S. Court of International Trade to block President Donald Trump's Liberation Day tariffs, meaning the tariffs are back in effect. They always were. This is the death by 1,000 cuts kind of a thing, and the Supreme Court really needs to get the hell off their asses and say, look, you're not a court that basically holds court over the whole United States. You don't put into place a holding action that stops the president. Or you literally could be somebody that could usurp the Congress, the Senate, and the president. That so supersedes your power, you are a local judge. Let's see. Scrolly. This one I think is beyond hilarious. Supposedly, CBS and their whole editing thing of Kamala's really just not great execution and just bad insertion of I know what I'm talking about. She just didn't really do it. She made everybody just go, oh, you just reinforced the fact that you are all right, guess she really went to town there. Anyway, so we really try to avoid playing Kamala because it just gets too long and drawn out, and sound guy enjoys it too much. Excuse me. Anyway, so she got edited to made to look better by CBS, and Trump was like, "Oh hell no! You were trying to play political games, trying to make her look like something other than complete and total, just."
Don't want to come.
No, I hit the pause button on that one. No. Stop. Oh man, I see the things pop up and I have a pause button, but we have also like, an interrogatory where we can do messages back and forth and stop. Anyway, so CBS is now looking like, oh snap, we're going to go to court. We're going to get our butts handed to us, and we are just going to get more than a little bit of... Yeah, I think they're going to get justifiably butt sexed. And I don't even mean like in the nice way. Yeah, anyway, so... they were now giving Trump a $15 million offer to say, please don't hurt us. Here's some money. Here's the thing. How much money do you think they made off of Kamala going, I think I have to be really, that's not the other thing. It seemed really studious and on point. And, of course, all the, those people on her side, I was going, you're so brave. You're so courageous. You are standing up for what's right. Yeah, I'm sure that was going on, and they were giving CBS entirely too much attention, and CBS made money. However, Trump is suing them for $20 billion for election interference. $15 million. No, that's not even 10%, dude. Nice try. So according to Wall Street Journal, a month into the settlement negotiations, went into arbitration, CBS News parent group Paramount Global offered to settle the suit for $15 million, only to be rejected by Trump's team. They probably told him in no uncertain terms, scratching an itch. The Donald, wants at least $25 million and a super sweet, humiliating apology. So this is the kind of crap that usually happens in movies. This is actually a news story I'm reading about. So he filed let's say here 10 billion, but it says, 20 billion. Also somewhere in here, I think it was. Yeah, they said first it was 20 billion. Now they're saying it's 10 billion. Against CBS News last year after the disgraced 60 Minutes blatantly interfered with the 2024 presidential election with a malicious edit in order to make Trump's opponent, then Vice President Kamala Harris, appear smart. appear smart. Oh, that's funny right there. In order to make Trump's opponent, then Vice President, appear smart, 60 Minutes removed a word salad answer she gave about Israel and replaced it with an answer that sounded somewhat coherent and even decisive. Keep in mind, CBS benefits greatly from the free use of airwaves owned by the public. Therefore, CBS is regulated to serve the public, not deceive the public, which is exactly what happened here. Trump later boosted his suit to $20 billion. So he said $10 billion, and they basically played, F Chuck games. And he said, oh, hell no. Yeah, we're not playing that one. Excuse me a second here. So the media continues to claim that the legal experts say the suit is frivolous, but the judge refused to toss the suit out, disagreed. Oh, wow. So the drama, therefore, is threefold. First, Paramount Global is desperate to merge with Skydance Media. There's a behind-the-scenes thing. A $8 billion merger must not only be approved by the FCC, Skydance has no desire to merge until the suit is settled. Trump's suit not only is valid, but he has CBS over a barrel. Translation, he's probably given them more than a little bit of... hang on a second. I got this one, sound guy. I got this one. Hang on a second here. He's got more than a little bit of... Oh, it's more than a little bit of, get ready to... Yeah, so anyway, second part of the delicious drama is the threat of Trump filing a second suit against CBS, this time a defamation suit over a 60-minute story that aired last week where Trump was compared to, quote-unquote, a mob boss. Oops. Third part of the drama is the best part. Turmoil, tears, and uncertainty at CBS News in 60 Minutes. The disgrace show's executive editor has already resigned. She said, you know what? I'm not hanging out for this crap because it's just going to blow up all around me. I don't want to be anywhere near this forest fire. I'm tapping out. Scott has threatened to bring major changes to CBS News, which has become a major liability when it comes to credibility and ratings. The news that CBS offered to settle for $15 million will only increase the turmoil and unhappiness at CBS News, and those serial liars deserve all the turmoil and tears that Trump can rain down upon them. It's coming in from Breitbart. Oh, man. I don't know if you guys heard about this one, but supposedly Jen Psaki has been pulled from MSNBC. Why? Only after a week, they said, oh no, she really, truly sucks. Yeah, I'm sure they were feeling that one. Okay, so anyway, she was supposed to be the network's quote-unquote next star, but even the viewers said, quote-unquote, no thanks. The Biden echo chamber doesn't sound quite like it used to. And that's coming in from one of the pages I follow on Facebook. But she's not a draw, man. She was just not a draw. You guys basically said, well, because she was a press secretary, she's going to be phenomenal. No, she sucked, okay? She sucked when she was in the White House, and now she sucks over here. And you guys pretty much just...
Yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah, yippee-ki-yay, dickheads. This is completely, absolutely legal. So Secretary Marco Rubio at Sec Rubio, the U.S. will begin revoking visas of Chinese students, including those with connections to the Chinese Communist Party or studying in critical fields. Remember I was telling you about the the intellectual property, intelligent design stuff, and yes, yeah, that's the kind of icky. Don't let them take it kind of stuff ever. Uh, mm, 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 mm. Hang on a second here. Scrolly. Uh, this 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 is one of these bittersweet things, and I truly cannot begin to tell you how much I'm kind of like thinking like this one was
You're in the jailhouse now.
Disney. Disney does it yet again. Except it isn't Disney. Oh no. It was an offshoot of EA or Electronic Arts trying to come up with a video game utilizing the characters from the Marvel Universe Black Panther, which is still one of my favorite of the Marvel Universe 36 movies or whatever it is. I like that for the very simple fact is they gave homage to the different tribes and their personalities. Every tribe kind of has their own little flair. These guys do this, these guys do that. But literally when it comes down to the point of it's the humans versus the bad guys, they all, join together and like, okay, we have a common enemy. We can put our differences aside. Let's go kick butt. I thought that was really cool in that regard. However, there was an offshoot studio that was trying to come up with a Black Panther video game. Was it a group of like-minded individuals all going, yeah, man, let's make the best game we possibly can? No, it was essentially a group of nothing in terms of any other race except for African Americans. And these guys literally made the game so woke, so hardcore that everybody other than us is the bad guy. It was unusable. It literally was just completely unusable. So the game was supposedly being made by the studio Cliffhanger Games. So it's a new game studio, but developed Black Panther, run by Kevin Stevens, who's the studio head for the now shuttered Middle Earth Shadow of the Mordor developer Monolith Productions. And it was basically all these guys all getting together going, oh, no, we can only do it our way because any other way would be, air quotes, racist. Excuse me 1 second here. Yeah, exactly, Patriot Fever. He said, like, like one of the tribes are like, well, gorillas are vegetarians. Like the big gorilla theme guys, and, they were like, oh no, what's up with these guys? Yeah, we're probably gonna have to be, cannibals and eat you. And they're like, what? It's like, we're just joking. We're vegetarians. It was a good joke. I thought it was actually really funny placed, and that was actually one of the more humorous groups of tribesmen. I thought it was actually really funny. So anyway, these guys tried to play this game. They tried to ruin this game, and it ain't flying. So they just said, you know what? Air quote, Thor's hammer. End quote. Dead duck. Let's see. Scrolly. This one is very, very interesting. They've done some research. Of course, now, cannabis has become weed, marijuana, call it what you will. Marihoochie has now become, more in vogue and pretty much open for pretty much any place. I really just don't like driving around, or I really, truly don't like people getting in my car. They reek of the stuff, because then the next guy gets in the car and they're looking at me like, so, what have you been doing? It's like, I've been driving. The last guy got in was the one that was reeking of weed, okay? Not me. So anyway, this one coming out of, hang on a second here, let me find the link here, CNN, which I think is absolutely hilarious. CNN's actually posting a story talking about the potential health hazards of weed. I guess even the stop clock is right twice a day. Quote, healthy people who regularly smoke marijuana or consume THC-laced edibles are showing signs of early cardiovascular disease similar to tobacco smokers. Okay, it's smoke. You're introducing smoke into your body. I don't think your body cares if it contains nicotine or contains THC. I think it's going, yeah, that's smoke. Smoke, no, I don't like smoke. Smoke's bad. Quote, to my knowledge, is the first study looking at THC's impact on vascular function in humans, said senior study author Matthew Springer, professor of medicine at the University of California, San Francisco. Quote, we're looking at a window in the future showing early changes that might explain why smoking marijuana has been linked to later heart disease. And it appears the act of smoking and THC itself both contribute to those changes in different ways. So, THC, or tetrahydrocannabinol, tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC, the component of marijuana that provides the high. Prior research on mice found damage to blood vessels to supply oxygen to vital organs after exposure to marijuana smoke. Springer said whether the marijuana smoke would impact the human vascular system, however, was unknown. Okay, I'm sure the mice in there were just like, they put the mice literally in like a contact high kind of like, okay, the mouse really, really, really needs to get a lot of weed in his system. Let's just put him in there, and you basically had like the guy just lighting it off and pretty much just doing his thing, and there's probably a box full of smoke. Probably that mouse was in the box, and all you heard was yeah, they probably were smoking that mouse up like nobody's business, and he probably was in there just going, I can't breathe. Yeah, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Martina Sasquatch, no, it's not the delivery device so much. It's the actual interaction therein of the THC upon the human body. That's what they're noticing. We found the vascular functions reduced by 42% in marijuana smokers and 56% in THC edible users compared to non-users. So it's the THC, Martina Sasquatch, not the delivery method. Although, in terms of nicotine delivery, there is nothing better, faster, or easier to get it into your system than stoking it up on a cigarette. That is going to be the quickest way to get it into your body. Bam. Literally, you take a drag, 7 seconds later, it's over the brain-blood barrier, and it's hitting your hippocampus and all the rest of that good stuff to make your brain go, I'm getting nicotine. Yeah. Now, nicotine actually can be a performance enhancer. You see, when you smoke cigarettes, it's not the nicotine that's the problem. It's the delivery method. So those guys are popping like, the snoozes and the pouches of not tobacco. They're getting the nicotine delivery, but it's slower because it's got to go through your skin and through your blood system and then finally hitting your head. But here's the dirty little secret. Because it's hitting your tongue ain't real far from your brain, so it's only a little bit slower than instead of smoking it and inhaling it. Let's see. Finding on THC-laced edibles was surprising, and it could be other forms of marijuana, teas, tinctures, edibles, and perhaps not as benign as we once thought. We thought larger studies could make a better conclusion about this finding. Risk of damaged blood vessels, basically it's jacking with the epithelials. Plaque buildup can increase in the arteries over time, potentially causing heart attacks, strokes, and heart disease. Damaged small blood vessels and can also cause kidney and lung disease, including comas, delirium, and dementia. Oh man, I never saw that many hippies like falling out, but sure. Let's see. This is very, very interesting. I'm going to jump subjects here. This one also coming in from, this is a WileyLaw.com link. Never heard of the guys, but it was kind of an interesting story. The ATF has announced firearms regulatory reforms and renewed partnership with the firearms industry. Translation, they are so deathly afraid of being investigated, defunded, and told, stop. So, May 21, 2025, Bureau of ATF announced a series of policy changes initiated in the Trump administration. Translation, stop acting like a-holes. The agency prefaced this announcement by stating the following: ATF is ushering in a new chapter marking the transparency, accountability, and partnership with the firearms industry. That is their job, not enforcement upon the public. This is not the same ATF over the last 4 years. We are fundamentally changing course with renewed focus on rebuilding trust with the federal firearms licenses, gun owners, and the public by prioritizing public safety and collaboration. That is their job. They are not the FBI. They are a function of the Treasury. Essentially, they basically enforce the licenses of the federal firearms dealerships. They are not enforcement agencies upon the general public. In fact, they should be completely disarmed. They should have no guns of their own, no ammunition, and they should basically be, more than anything, more like, basically like process servers. Hi, Mr. Jones. Yes, this is Agent so-and-so from the ATF. I have a notice here that we need to go over your books. Oh, okay. Would you like to come by and this and the other thing? Oh, sure. Yeah. Let's completely fully accommodate you because we're not supposed to be pejorative anymore. That's how things should work. Let's see. Still got this cough thing. It's annoying as hell. This is one of these stories that you just look at it and you just kind of go, what? And it's on many levels here. Okay, it's on many levels, and I just gotta say, this is one you probably just might want to hold your breath on. Michelle Obama downplays the role of female reproductive system. The least of what it does is produce life.
No!
You're despicable.
The least it does is make babies. Nope, it's just there to hang around, and once in a while, you use it when you go to the restroom. It's like, basically like bookends on the bookshelf. It's just there. So former First Lady Michelle Obama is getting pushback for her recent comments on the functions of a woman's biological system. No, she's not talking. She's saying no snoo snoo. She's saying no snoo snoo. Okay?
No!
Snoo.
No snoo snoo. Okay, whatever. So she's getting pushback. Obama made a statement during an episode of her podcast. Who actually is listening to that crap? She appeared to criticize men and claim that they know nothing about a woman's experience. Well, maybe you know about both. Quote, so many men have no idea about what women go through, right? We haven't been researched. We haven't been considered. And it still affects the way a lot of male lawmakers, a lot of male politicians, and a lot of male religious leaders think about the issue of choice is just about the fetus, the baby, she stated. I thought you said it wasn't that important and it's not that big a deal. So immediately she goes, well, this is all about politics. Maybe you never heard of bedroom politics? Yikes. But a woman's reproductive health is all about her life. It's about the whole complicated reproduction system that does, the least of what it does is produce life. No, that's primarily what it does, you skank. It's a very important thing about it does. But you only produce life with the machine that's producing it if you wanted to. Whittle it down to a machine if the machine is functioning in a healthy, streamlined kind of way. But there is no discussion or apparent connection between the two. Okay, thank you, Lord. She never decided to be a gynecologist because holy crap. Holy crap. I mean, everybody would just log in the office and she'd be like, well, this is really not that important a function of the human body. You really just truly don't need to even worry about it. It's just there.
You're despicable.
Wow. Just wow. No other way to state it except for wow. This is very, very interesting. Of course, the whole behind the scenes thing, like, the five guys that were actually running the White House. So the gun grabbing soy boy of I can't even lift 30 pounds in a bench rest has let the cat out of the bag. So the undercover video, David Hogg has now claimed Joe Biden's chief of staff ran the White House. Really? Interesting. Noted how DNC is always going to be the campaign arm of the president. The bigger issue is the inner circle around Biden. There was a guy by the name of, let's see if we can't find his name. guy by the name of Barnall. It's really kind of not a well-written... Anthony Barnall, wielding unchecked power in the White House. Well, have you ever even heard of this guy? I mean, truly, have you ever even heard of Anthony Barnall? But they say he's an American political aide, served as senior advisor to First Lady Joe Biden from 2020 to 2025. Yeah, but he also served in the administration of Barack Obama and Bill Clinton. During Joe Biden's presidential campaign, served as the deputy campaign manager. Yeah. Well, he's also been subpoenaed by the House Oversight Committee about what's going on with Joe Kaka's health in the time in which you knew him best. Yeah. I'm not gonna watch this, okay? But supposedly Joe Biden was not Joe Biden, wrong person, excuse me. Bono, the guy with the lead singer for U2, not Biden, Bono. Bono was on Joe Rogan. I am not going to watch that interview, although it is kind of funny when he basically started spewing some stupidity and Joe Rogan just called him a retard. Anyway, so he was also on Jimmy Kimmel, and he issued a quote-unquote warning to Trump. As long as the USA is sending money, like U.S. aid, it's no problem. But if you cut that off, Doris Hammer, you're going to get it. He didn't say what he's going to get, but they said, you're going to get it. Bono, stick to standing and, basically singing stupid songs. Don't try to be political because you're not good at it. Speaking of somebody being political and not good at it, Gritty Thunder Britches is heading to Gaza with a shipload of anti-Israeli activists. So she brought her own personal load of assholes to wail and complain in Gaza. The only thing I could think, and I would be like, I'd be mean to say this, but I hope she gets caught by, the Hamas guys and they go, oh, look, here's a little blonde girl. Let's have some fun. Yeah, and then she would maybe suffer,
death by snoo.
Yeah, that would be appropriately applied, I'm thinking, is they go, she's too much fun. She's like a little play doll. Yes, and that's just me being me. I have other thoughts about her, but they're not so politically or publicly notable, shall I say. Excuse me 1 second here. But the idea of her getting caught by the terrorists and becoming like, a fun toy. Hey, we got her back. She's walking really, really funny. That to me just kind of tickles my fancy. I cannot do this justice. This is absolutely some of the best news I could ever hear coming out of the Democrat National Committee. Who are they thinking of running in 2028? Well, Pete Buttigieg as the forerunner, with AOC or Kamala Harris trailing behind for like preferential peoples. Now, supposedly, Buttigieg supposedly grew a beard to try to look more manly. He's a gay man. He's going to look like a gay man if he's got a beard or if he doesn't. I don't think anybody really cares about that at this point. If we were to have the first gay president, I don't think anybody would really care. I mean, it's not that big a deal. Who you do and, when you choose to do it, people kind of move beyond it. It's not that big a deal, okay? We really, truly don't care who you do. We just don't want to pay for it. We don't want to see it out in front of us in public. Just the same as seeing, like, two people playing kissy face in public. Kind of not into it, man. It's like, I got better things to do, and sex is not a spectator sport. I'm sorry. It is not. But the new DNC platform, if they run Buttigieg, is... if one penis is good, two penises are better. Let's see. Scrolly. Got a bunch of stuff here. The pride parades for some reason seem to be having like very scant, gatherings for some reason. I don't know why that is. I think it just might be a case of some people really, truly are just saying, you know what? we don't have the White House on our side. We don't have to be like so out and open now. It doesn't work in our favor. Let's knock this crap off, okay? So that could be possibly what it is. But supposedly the Boise, Idaho parade canceled because nobody showed up. Oh, man. Speaking of somebody that's crashed and burned, Billy Joel has been fully vaccinated. He's also canceled his tour because he had a sudden onset brain disorder. The brain disorder is a side effect known from the COVID mRNA vaccines, and Joel is a prominent supporter of the experimental virus vaccine rollout. Dude, that's just dumb, okay? If you're basically going to do this stuff, don't try and drag everybody into the lifeboat with you as the Titanic's going down. Just do your thing, okay? You do you, we'll do us, all right? Scrolly. I cannot do this one justice. This one, I think, is absolutely some of the funniest irony ever. So supposedly Schumer was doing a book signing event, and chaos erupted. Why? Because anti-Israeli protesters swarmed the place. Look, we're trying to do something positive here. Don't swarm the place. And what they do, they swarm the place. Too funny. Let's see. Scrolly. I got so many memes, man, especially since the month of issue that it is. I'm really pushing back against this whole rainbow thing. I'm just not into it. Let's see. This one is really kind of one of those wild stories. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I could, definitely, read the whole thing, but it's going to take too long. So it's coming in from conservativebrief.com. Conservative Brief. A Secret Service whistleblower revealed Joe Biden got lost in the White House. Whoops. Truth about former President Joe Kaka's cognitive disability may be even worse than Americans could have imagined. A Secret Service whistleblower claimed that the former President Biden was so disoriented he would sometimes get lost in his closet. Missouri Republican Josh Hawley said on Fox News this Friday, or last Friday, or on a Friday, quote, am I overstating it when I say this is the biggest White House presidential scandal in history? No, I don't think so. Because listen, I'll tell you something that I haven't said before. It came from a Secret Service whistleblower in the past year. I've talked to so many of them after the attempted assassinations of President Trump, but this Secret Service whistleblower actually was assigned to Biden, and he told me that Biden used to get lost in his closet in the mornings in the White House. I mean, the guy literally was stumbling around the White House residence, couldn't find his way out of his own closet, the President of the United States, the senator said. I mean, he's also quoting from, Josh Hawley still. Quote, I mean, this is outrageous. We were lied to. As well as I do, the press has a huge role in this. I mean, the press actually is really important in America. They're supposed to report the truth, what they do, what's going on every night. It's not what the liberal media did, though. They sold this country out for years. They did it for power, and they need to be held accountable as well. Wow. Sean Hannity asked if there was more to the auto pen activity in the last 100 days than there was in the first 3.5 years. And then one of the staffers was, we'll put him in hiding and just bring him every once in a while, just show proof of life. I've heard that phrase before. We'll hide him and bring him every once in a while to show proof of life. Yipes. Scrolly. This tickled me beyond measure and just made me laugh so hard. Excuse me 1 second here. So, for a whole month, a lot of these companies have bent over backwards to try to, show the 2% of the, the gay rainbow coalition, XYZ PDQ, OU812, call it what you will, of how much they are aligned with these guys, and please give us our business. I got bad news for you. Excuse me 1 second, your nose is acting up. Got bad news for you. If you were pissing off 98% of the population trying to kowtow to 2% of the population, at the very least, you're pissing off 50% of the population, okay? Let's just do the very simple, stupid math on this one, okay? At the very least, you were pissing off 50% of the population of these United States. That's it. That's just how it is. You're always going to have people of at least two different, mindsets, no matter if they fall into the straight gay, XYZ, PDQ, OU812 category, rainbow coalition, call it what you will. They're probably going to be at least 50% on one side of the aisle, 50% on the other side of the aisle. Are you offending me? Or are you not offending me? And of all things, Target finally said, you know what? We're not doing it this time because it's just blown up in our face. We don't like the bad press. We're tapping out on this one. We're not doing it anymore. So a Democrat voter complains, and this is coming in from that same Donald Trump Facebook page I like. Democrat voter complains that Target has replaced the Pride Month section with all USA merchandise. This just makes me laugh. Democrat voter, happy Pride Month. At my Target, it used to have the Pride section. Now it's all USA. Yay. It's an American summer, except for tourism, because tourism's down, because no one wants to come here. The USA. Woo. And honestly, my dad serves in the military, and I'd love to be really proud of this nation, but it's hard to be proud of it under Donald Trump. I got bad news for you, skank. No matter who the president is, you either have pride in your nation or you don't have pride in your nation, and you either back your nation or you don't. Because the civilian leadership is only one small component of it, as will be stated. But hey, that's why you're here. Pick up the USA bikini. Why not? Yeah, Target's really taking this anti-GII thing to another level. Yeah, they're not doing it, okay? And this woman, charitably, I'm almost kind of glad she's playing for the other team, okay? Just yeah, she's also got the dog mouth too. You were a little slow on that one, sound guy. She's also got the dog mouth too. Wow. Just no. Not to say that you can't look at a homely chick and go, yeah, she's not so bad. No, if you had the component of being a screaming Democrat liberal, I don't care how great you're looking, you're a major turnoff. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. This one I cannot do this justice. You got to actually find the actual sound bite itself, but I cannot do this justice. This is, I don't know what this guy was thinking, but he probably slapped together two words. But the guy's name is Representative John Bryant. Or Bryant. Bryant. And he's from District 114. I don't know where he comes from, but he was legalizing sawed-off shotguns. Not shotguns, shotguns. I could not begin to do this justice, but oh my goodness, if you hear the soundbite, is absolutely hilarious. But it's now been covered by the Second Amendment, and it is now legal. The sawed-off shotgun. Oh man, I cannot do it justice. So this one is also extremely interesting, jumping back to the policies of things. So the Supreme Court has now doubly, triply, quadruply, beyond absolutely stated the executive office, he's the boss. He's the boss. And if somebody has a situation where they're in a position that he can greatly affect, or he can deny, or he can basically terminate, he can. He can. And they said, you can't do that. And they took him to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court finally said, you know what? We're making a historic ruling. He has full constitutional authority to remove the heads of all independent federal agencies without cause. Now, those two words mean everything. Not, because they showed up late for work, and, they basically, used the company credit card too much, or, they pooped in the bathroom, didn't flush twice. No, they can now be fired without cause. He can go, you know what? You're fired. Done deal. Effectively dismantling the unelected administrative state ability to obstruct from his America First agenda. Translation: if you're running the department in such a way that you're going counter to his wishes, bye. You're done. See ya. No more. Don't forget to take the train. Don't take any wooden nickels. Scrolly. So many memes. This particularly pissed me off. So supposedly the Supreme Court goes, "Oh, we're too busy to take up a Second Amendment case right now. Come back later." Translation: they're probably waiting for Clarence Roberts, Clarence Thomas. They're waiting for Clarence Thomas to either 1, retire, or 2, decide to depart this plane, because he is the most conservative head. He's basically the next version of Scalia, sitting currently in the Supreme Court of the United States. He's really, really close to Scalia. But I consider this honor, bravo, Sierra, that these a-holes are not enforcing and furthering the Constitution of the Second Amendment of these United States. So, breaking Supreme Court decides to leave blue state bans on some semi-automatic weapons and high-capacity magazines in place, declining to hear the challenges. What really needs to have happen is there needs to be a federal mandate that if you enforce like this, you lose federal funds. That's how you fix this stuff. You take the money away from them and you say you're not going to do it. Guess what? You're not going to get it. This one, I cannot begin to tell you just how hilarious this is. Coming in from the Pravda on the Potomac, also known as the Washington Post. Put up there on May 31, 2025, there was a mysterious drop in the fentanyl seizures along the U.S.-Mexico border. Reasons behind the decrease in fentanyl seizures along the U.S. and Mexico border are complex. No, they're not a-holes. They basically said, don't bring it in here, and if you try to bring it in here, we'll bust your ass and throw you back home. Problem solved. This I find to be completely illustrative of the just unbelievably entrenched and never able to switch things up Washington, D.C. machine. So supposedly they're not codifying Doge, and they're not doing anything that basically was all that hard work from basically the hard work that was done by, hang on a second, this thing keeps popping up on me. It's getting annoying. On Elon Musk's hard work with Doge, reducing the government expenditure and finding all the things that are just, reprehensibly stupid, excessively wasteful, and just all that stuff that need to get fixed. They're not fixing it. So he's now going, you know what? The big, beautiful bill is a disgusting abomination, mostly because they're not codifying or they're not putting in place as law and furthering their utilization for Doge's findings. Let's see. So supposedly, Trump is now pissed off at Rand Paul after he rejects the debt ceiling hike in the one beautiful bill. We spend too much money. So that's how that one works. Sorry, Donald Trump. I'm definitely gonna step aside on that one for you, and I'm not gonna follow suit in your let's spend more money, let's have more money to spend. We spend entirely too much as it is. So if you're waving that dog turd under his nose, he's not going to take it. Sorry. Nice try. Of course, this one I think to be completely interesting on the other side of the aisle of it, though, is on the economic side. We're doing everything that they said would fail, but it's making things better. I very simply would say stop listening to the air quotes experts, because he's doing everything 180 out, and it's working. So, Breitbart economy, they said essentially job openings unexpectedly rise, defying predictions for tariff-induced labor market sluggishness. Now, if you listen to the left-hearted news, excuse me one second here. All they keep saying is, oh, how about everything's going to fail, or the stock market's really sluggish, or, it's not a good investment thing to go to the United States right now, or, the United States is overinvested. I wouldn't go there because you never know. There might be too much money, and you're not going to get your money back out of it, and blah, 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 blah. I think it is complete and total, absolute bravo, Sierra. Oh, thanks, Sung. I appreciate your improvement on there. But the thing about it is them throwing this stuff out there and saying, oh no, you have to invest in Europe, even though it's really not the best returns right now. And oh yeah, the United States is not so great because Donald Trump is really, well, he doesn't really know what he's talking about. I tend to think you probably want to not invest in the stock market right now. There's going to be a correction. It's way overvalued. I wouldn't throw my money there, and I would wait for it to drop down to some measure of reasonableness. I mean, there's like 500,000 houses right now that are trying to be sold, and a good chunk of them trying to be sold in Florida because everybody bought down there really, really high, and of course the market's going really, really kind of lower because, oh yeah, they went down there during COVID and they realized this place is not great half a year. It's kind of really not so cheap as I thought it was going to be. I bought in really, really high. My house payments kind of suck. That's pretty much what happened there. Everybody really didn't look at the long view on things, and they said, oh, no, we need to fix this immediately. Now, going down to Florida is such a bad thing because obviously, legally, you're going to have way more freedoms. Financially, you're going to look at things that are really, truly going to be in kind of a good investment aspect. Not right now. Oh, sound guy approved of my, economic advice. Let's see. Scrolly. This is completely badass and out of the park. I cannot begin to tell you how cool this is and how long we've been waiting for this one. So, the Civilian Marksmanship Program, or the CMP of the federal government, translation, those guys that make sure that we are essentially ready to defend the homeland, has, and I cannot begin to tell you how they managed to pull this one off. This is bloody phenomenal. They now have got new production M1 Garand. Holy crap, man. So the guns are being produced by a company called Heritage Arms USA in Alabama, which has no relation to Heritage Manufacturing, noted maker of 22 revolvers. Thanks to CMP's long history of selling and maintaining original Garand rifles, they have plenty of examples and data to draw from. I'm just hoping it's good modern metallurgy, because if you ask anybody that is in the business, they'll tell you that the Garand itself, epic, timeless, amazing design. The metallurgy was really kind of like they were just making it to get these guys to actually have something to fight with, but it really wasn't made to the best of materials available for the long haul. It was really made to just go out, fight, and kind of like the Jeeps, where, you're done fighting with them, they're all worn out, just basically pushing them off the boat on the way back because they're all just worn out, they were crap. They kind of had that same kind of thinking along the lines with the Garands, but I tell you what, man, I've shot an M1 Garand right next to my M14, and the Garand kicks less. With more cartridge, it kicks less. It is just a nice gentle push as opposed to wrapping you in the shoulder like the 14 does. And I can truly affirm that there is absolutely nothing wrong with the M1 Garand, short of it only holds 8 rounds. That is the only thing wrong with that rifle. But man, I'll tell you what, they work like nobody's business. And oh yeah, the ka-ting is just cool. So anyway, they're going to be made obviously in 30-06 and 308. They're going to be $1,900, but this is a brand damn new one. You'll find used examples for that price or more, depending on the scarcity and who made them and when. Plus $40 for shipping. Like all CMP sales activities, the proceeds from these sales will fund the CMP mission and marksmanship program and training, including things like youth competition shooting programs and national matches at Camp Perry. Pre-orders are available now for filling out this online form. Expected to start shipping this summer. That is completely badass. So if you look on Firearms Blog, so the Firearms Blog, or the Firearm Blog, no S, thefirearmblog.com, you will find that thing and you will check that thing out, and $1,800 plus $40 shipping could be you, man. And that is a hell of a machine. I would love to have one of those guys. Only thing is I would probably set up like an M1D, mostly because, trying to work iron sights now as my eyes have aged doesn't really work in my favor. I've been using glass a lot more. So a nice low power scope on the side of that thing, they work, man. They just work. This thing keep bugging on me. Hang on a second here. All right. Hopefully you guys aren't hearing that thing buzzing constantly, but you might be. I'm sorry. So M1 Garens is new production. That's just cool. Anything else going on right now? I know we're running quite a bit later, but I did actually miss. So I was trying to have like another kind of, we have the long compilation show, I guess it would be. Let's see. Anything else going on? Oh, we got music. All right. You guys hung out with me, and appreciate your kind attention on a Tuesday. You got many other things to do, but you guys hung out with me, and I will give you a gold star for attendance. Thank you much for coming on by. Unless I put out something sooner next week, I guess I'm going to put out this, and I will see you then. Thank you guys so much, and I will catch you guys later. Have a good one. Eat good signing ring as always. You know what, you love it. I will see you next time. Catch you guys later, and have a good night. See you guys.